Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching the show this evening. We have Blue Monday Live episode 7. We have George Brown Lohr on the show tonight. We'll be featuring a couple of his songs. A great jazz player, great sideman, player with a lot of phenomenal musicians here in the Austin area. So really excited to have a conversation with George tonight and play some of his music. We'll also have a blues history segment on TC's Lounge, which is turned into the Sahara Lounge nowadays, but we're going to dive into the history and why it was an important place in East Austin's history. So thank you all so much for watching the show. Get comfortable. We're going to have a good old time tonight. Thank you so much for watching. All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching Blue Monday Live. We're sitting here with Mr. George Brown Lohr, one wonderful bass player, fantastic friend. Everybody knows George. George is a solid player, a great songwriter. We got a chance to play some music with George today. So how you doing today, brother?
Oh, absolutely wonderful.
Excellent, man. Ready to jump right on this conversation with you, man. I know you were born here in Austin. How long ago was that?
1987.
1987, but that's what's up. So you've seen a lot go on, a lot of growth going throughout the city, man. Have you ever spent any time outside of the city, or have you been here the whole time?
I moved when I was little.
Yeah.
So Toledo, Ohio. I went to
Oh,
this
really?
great charter art school, learned a lot about
Nice.
music, came
Yeah.
back in high school.
That's what's
So
up. So what, when you were going to school, what kind of music did you listen to then? Like, what were you exposed to as a child?
as a lot of jazz, a lot
Nice.
of
Yeah,
blues,
yeah.
some country western swing, some
Yeah.
champagne country.
Yeah. Who were some of your favorite artists when you were like 10, 12 years old?
Local artists?
Just
Or
anybody in general,
any
yeah.
artists. Oh man. Put me on the spot there really early.
Was there any like musical instruments in your house when you were a kid?
Yeah, I'd sneak into my mom's closet when she wasn't home. 'Cause
Yeah.
She'd be pissed off, and she had a classical guitar, a little
Really?
nylon thing.
That's what's up, man. Yeah. How old were you when you started playing that?
Uh, Not really taking it very much seriously.
Yeah.
Just little like elementary school a little bit, but
Yeah. Did you learn like your notes and your staff and all that in school as a child?
um, I took flute when I was in elementary school in like 5th grade,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
and
that's what's
then
up.
what I everything I learned about music was pretty much in freshman year of high school. I was
Yeah.
at this charter art school in Toledo, Ohio,
Okay, yeah.
and Ken Zerker. I was in this jazz combo class, and that guy gave me a lifetime of stuff to work on.
That's what's up,
basically,
man.
and
Yeah. So,
just
what was the first instrument you were playing when you were a freshman?
well, I started playing bass in like 7th grade or so.
Bass. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Was it electric or upright?
Electric
Electric bass.
first,
Nice.
yep, then
Have you-
upright.
How much upright bass do you play nowadays? It's been a
Um,
while, right? It's fun.
yeah,
Though.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely, it's my friend Norm put it a really good way.
Yeah.
He said that the upright bass is 300 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that could have been done has pretty much been done already on it.
Yeah.
But the electric bass is such a new instrument
Yeah.
that there's so many new things that can be done
Yeah.
and explored with it. So
That's what's
I
up,
like
man.
that.
No, definitely. No, I really love the electric bass sound, and also just like bass players in general, like are all like 99% of them are just the coolest people. Like you, Harold McMillan, Joe Segovia, who's been on the show
Oh,
as
man.
well. Like my friend Laura Madrid. Like just bass players are just cool people, chill people. If you don't like a bass player, something's wrong with you. You know.
all bass players get along with all other bass players.
Yeah,
Like, I
no,
don't know what
this-
it is with that, but
it
I've
is, man.
never met a bass player I don't completely get along with and
Yeah.
understand. Maybe it's because we never have to work with each other.
Maybe so. There's
We
only
just
one
give
of you
each
per
other
band. No, but there's like that guitar rivalry, but you never
Oh,
hear
they
about
cut
bass.
each other's heads off.
Yeah, you never hear about bass
Saxes too,
rivalries.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like when you guys are together,
Right? Oh yeah, keyboard players too, all of them. But like bass players, you never hear bass players like compete or argue with each other. But everybody loves Jaco. Right?
sure.
Man, George. All right. So, being born and raised in Austinite, how has the musical history affected you as a person? Like, just give us an insight on that as being born and bred here.
Oh my God, there's so much. I mean, you got the Texas Shuffle, which
Mhm.
is a different kind of shuffle than any other kind of shuffle. And I don't want to
yeah.
get too specific with it because it's not meant to be a specific thing,
Yeah.
really.
I hear you.
But like, there's an arbitrary finger that can be put on it.
Mhm.
And if I was going to put my finger on it, I would say there's a especially big one on the Texas Shuffle.
Yeah.
And everything else is kind of more even keeled, and I think of Tommy Shannon, the way he plays and
Yeah.
stuff
No,
like
I
that.
know. I know exactly which is a feel to it, and it really,
Otis, like, good God.
oh yeah, I mean, some people really just know how to get in that groove, and there's a bunch of different shuffles, but that Texas Shuffle is very unique, very true to the region. What made you want to be a musician, like just to get into the business of it? Like, you could have been a teacher, you could have done a whole lot of things, but what made you want to play music as as a profession?
I have not the slightest clue. I cannot stop doing it no matter what.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Actually, it's not the best. It like literally is.
Don't do it,
Like,
everybody.
and
Don't
I'm
do
fine
it,
with
yeah.
that. Like, and I just deal with it.
That's funny, man. So what's some advice that you have as a bass player, as a sideman, as being, someone who's seen a lot and played with a lot of great musicians, which we're getting more into in a little bit. What's some insight and advice you have for musicians just starting out in Austin?
As a side band, I
Yeah.
especially want to think of as an accompanist.
Yeah, okay.
An accompanist, like every 30-second note you play
Yeah.
or rest
Mhm.
that you play is like 90% your brain is on how you can make the other person sound better.
Love that. Yeah, that's what's up. No, I
So,
think a lot of
Like, don't let a
accompanimists-
single 30-second note rest go by where your brain's not on that.
See, yeah, I think that's what separates you from a lot of other players is you have that mentality. That is good advice, man. What about like starting a project? As you see a lot of people come into town, they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You've seen a lot of guitar players come in. What's some like insight you have seeing those people come in and grow? And you've seen some take off. You've worked with like Chris Duarte before. So I mean, like that's somebody who's reached the echelon. Like so. Give me some advice as a bass player, as an accompanist. Like what it takes. To play in Austin.
Oh gosh, It's a great question. I really want to ask that question more to the people that I have the honor to
Yeah,
work with more.
yeah.
But
What have you seen
definitely
them
don't
do?
compromise.
Yeah,
Maintain your integrity above everything else.
gotcha. Yeah.
And there's a lot of little tricks too
Mhm.
that you can do. You don't have to do, but they really help. Like working with Joe Hell, for instance, he does
Yeah.
this thing where like you never want to be in front of the person who's soloing or singing.
Do you play much bass solos like during like a 3 hour set downtown? Would you do that?
Oh, I mean,
Because
like,
some bass players will be like, no, I don't want to.
well, like you never want to ask for a bass solo.
Okay,
If
yeah.
you ever want to ask for a bass solo, you
Yeah.
probably shouldn't take a bass solo.
Yeah.
I think of that Tower of Power bass
Oh
player.
man, yeah.
What's his name? Roscoe.
He just
He
passed
never
away. Yeah.
took a solo in his whole life.
But a solid man.
Never
Like
his whole life.
Yeah, that dude was a legend and
But
influenced so many other great bass players from that sound. But you're right. I think.
but it's important. I mean, I practice
Yeah.
soloing every day, and um, every walking bass line,
Yeah.
is really just a solo in quarter notes.
That's
So.
what's up. Yeah. So I mean, as far as like being an accompanist, and now you've also led some groups. Like you've had some residencies downtown that you've led. As a band leader, what are some like struggles that you've come up with dealing with musicians in Austin?
Oh man. Honestly, I really enjoy it. It's a
Yeah.
great challenge. I
Well,
love
you
it.
have like a list of
I
players. I think
feed
that's
off
what
of it,
helps too.
and
Yeah.
it's important to just build your people up.
Yeah.
Um, calories are important right before a show. Like
Yeah.
I keep
Loading
a
up.
can of salmon for Renee whenever
Yeah.
I hire him, and he's
Yeah.
on the drums. I'm like, here you go, just
Fill
in
them up.
case.
Oh, yeah. You gotta take care of your drummers.
Yeah, little things like that can go a long way. I don't
Yeah.
just take care of everybody.
Oh yeah, and you do that a lot, man. What is like someone you have been someone who has played 7 nights a week to get by in this town? What's some advice that you have for working musicians? As far as like taking gigs, what kind of work regimen do you have as far as like studying the material? What kind of work do you put into that in projects?
Okay, well, you definitely have to be very relentless. You
Mhm.
have to know ever. I try to memorize absolutely everything.
Yeah.
That's important.
Oh yeah.
If I can, in all 12 keys, I've learned the hard way that sometimes like the band leader is actually wants it half step higher than you thought that he did.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
So booking though, and like, cause like I said, you've been around for in Austin your whole life. You've booked a lot of bands, you've played in a lot of bands. When you're working with the venue, what do you want to see? Like have you worked with some venues you feel like weren't getting a fair deal, or have you worked with a lot of good people? Like, give me some explanations, because I want to lead up into another venue that we've worked at a lot as well. So tell me about your experiences working with some venues here in town.
if you want advice working with venues
Yeah.
or anything in the industry,
Yeah,
Tanner Lewis and the Aviators, this country gig I worked with,
Yeah.
this guy, amazing angel of a guy. He always
Yeah.
said, just be absolutely nice to everyone, no matter what whatsoever, because you can
Yeah.
afford to be. And
Mhm.
like, that's so true. And I
Mhm.
mean, it goes a long way. Always be willing to, do whatever it takes to just get things done at the end of the day. If the venue messed up and you're double booked and
Yeah.
you're halfway across Texas,
Yeah.
rather than just trying to like just hog the whole night,
Mhm.
if the other bands across Texas too, let's share the night with each other and let's approach the venue about
Yeah.
it and be pragmatic
Yeah.
and helpful. And you know what that'll happen? You know what'll happen when you do that? You'll show the venue that you're willing to work like that,
Yeah.
and they will hand you 5 more bones that are totally
Yeah.
worth your while.
No,
So
I mean,
just work with everybody and
be kind.
yeah.
Clean up after yourself on stage
Oh,
after a
yeah,
set.
definitely.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Yeah.
worked in bars my whole life,
Yeah.
playing and
That's the one thing I
working
try to
too,
do.
and always try to clean up.
Yeah,
Take
even if
care of
it's
your
not even
staff.
my stuff, I get this like the band's bottles and stuff around, like
Yep.
cups, just anything. Working with like venues, and you've been here, so you've seen some great ones come and go. I know you did a lot of work over there at 311 Club on 6th Street.
Yep.
Tell me about your time out there, because that's a very very great club that I really missed that one a lot.
I started doing like jazz gigs there, like
Yeah.
God, like 15, 12 years ago, or
Yeah.
something crazy like that.
Yeah.
And I John was playing bass every once in a while, and then some other people were playing bass for the house band, and I was just opening up for
Gotcha.
them.
What night
And
was the house band playing on?
it was Joe Valentine and the Imperials,
Yeah, yeah.
with Joe Valentine.
Yeah.
And so I approached Joe and I'm like, I watched the way that everybody did everything, and
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I really want to play with you, and gave Sue my number and
Yeah.
everything. And about a year later, they finally needed me and started using me. So I started
Oh, yeah.
playing there like 3 nights a week, 4 hours
Yeah.
a night, $40 a night usually, but sometimes really good.
Oh yeah,
Just
sometimes it's really
depends.
worth it. Yeah, no, I remember those nights.
Yeah, Joe
Oh
Valentine was a
yeah, you see, you learned a
beast.
lot from Joe, man.
Yeah,
So working, you see, in the '90s and or the 2000s, right? That was about the time
2000s,
2000s
later
and on.
2000. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was in his later years,
gotcha, man.
definitely.
So when was the first time you played your first gig outside of the Austin area? And tell me about that.
Oh, I
Out
mean,
of all,
I
like, would you ever go to
guess
West Texas? When the first time you went out to West Texas or
first
something?
time I went to West Texas, I was in high school.
Yeah,
Was with Barbarians of Sevilla,
yeah,
Atea. This guy who played with Joe Ely. He was like
yeah.
Joe Ely's flamenco guitar player
That's what's
guy.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about some trips you've had on the road. I know you've had some pretty ups and downs up there. So give me some stories about that.
Oh, just um, learned a million things.
Yeah.
Like I'll tell you what. Yep.
What was the biggest thing that you took away with working like a professional like Chris Duarte?
Oh man, dude. Whew.
Yeah.
He gives me like such like little instruction because he wants to see where you go. It's
Yeah.
almost like the way Miles Davis gives you instruction, and it's just like you could go absolutely anywhere, and he can
Yeah.
go there with you, and he wants
yeah.
you to go wherever you kind of feel like going, and
That's what's up.
it's almost overwhelming, but it's a great thing because when
Yeah.
it's good, it's really, really, really good.
I mean, I could play like Brandon Temple on drums, like Renee
Yeah.
on drums. Yeah, like you really, and then having Chris is just hands down like the best guitar player I've seen live. I think at this point, like just an amazing player. I can't solo after him. I did a show with the guy Forsyth at Anton's, and Chris and I were a guest that night. And like, you have to let the whole thing like stew around a little bit after Chris solos because it's impossible to follow that. It's just,
I've been studying
Oh,
Chris's
man.
solos lately, and
Yeah.
like I realized how much sheets of sound he puts in,
Yeah.
squeezes in. It's just like fuck.
and it's not like just repetitive typewriter stuff. Like he is creating, like it is jazz lines. Like the way he does it, it's impressive, man. And I could tell that playing with you as well, man. So tell me about though, like how much you feel like you have a mentorship now because you're not old, but you're getting in your 30s now. You're gonna be playing bass. You're gonna be some 20-year-old hotshot guitar player kid roll in one day is gonna hire you. So like,
Oh yeah, I've had that honor with a couple guys. Thanks for hiring me. You're all amazing. Like,
yeah. So like,
hire me more.
Yeah, what's some advice that you have as like a 33-year-old now, right? 33 or 34?
Yeah, 33.
Yeah. So what's some insight you have as like an older musician, who's put some years in, put some miles in on the road?
Oh man, like you got to work like 10 times harder than you ever thought you did.
Yeah.
Like like batting averages of people put you in perspective because it's not that much better that the batting average is that makes the world of difference, and it takes so long. I've been working 2 weeks on 10 measures of something.
Yeah.
Like
That's what it takes. Yeah.
I'm still not there.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Do you feel like you're getting to that role though? Like you could help other musicians, like just not necessarily on stage, but outside of the stage, because you are an Austinite, and you've seen a lot. So like, do you
Yeah,
feel like
you
you
know,
have that responsibility?
One of my favorite things was like hosting jams. Like I hosted a
Yeah.
jam at 311.
Tell me
I
about
hosted
that.
a jam at Lit Lounge for a little while.
Yeah.
And like the jam that Matthew hosts.
That's
like
Matthew does a lot.
that's-
He's like 25 years old, working
if you
hard.
want to, honestly, my best advice for anybody, any aspiring band leader,
Yeah.
is like go to any night you're not working. You need to go to an open, like the best open jam that's in town. Where all the good players are going.
Yeah.
And you need to embarrass
jams, yeah.
yourself as much as possible, as long as often as possible.
Like I encourage, like guitar players, go to the elephant room every now and then, just
Oh,
to
absolutely.
get home,
Yes.
put a little bit. Out
Yeah,
there.
you.
Sax players too. Oh my god, like John Mills, like that dude's an incredible player. There's like Kaz Kazanov's another one I really respect saxophone player wise.
Yeah.
There's some really great ones. Bobby, who I play a lot with, Jabo. Just the way they groove, like you can't teach that. You can't put that on paper. Like it's pretty awesome, man. All right, George, I got a couple more questions for you, there, brother. What I want to know is, what was the last gig you played before shutdown back in March?
It's probably just Maggie Mays with my band
Yeah,
every
Fat Cactus?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, that was a fun gig. Maggie Mays, I love that room.
Yeah.
What do you feel about since they moved the stage up to the street side? I really think
I
that's
thought
a lot.
that was a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
I
yeah.
made 311 do that when we moved the jam over
Yeah.
before it closed down, and
That's
it's
what's up.
yeah, it makes a big difference.
People want to see that right there from the street.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Well, you want as many decibels going out the window as possible. It's nuclear war
Right.
out in 6th Street, like it really is, and it's it's an arms race.
That's
And
beautiful.
as long as
That's
it sounds
crazy.
good going out, you're
Yeah.
gonna bring more people in.
Well, brother, one last question I have for you. Thank you so much for being here. I like to ask my guests this question before we wrap up our conversations. Is what is the blues to you? There's a great blues community. You hosted some jams. You've been out here on the East Side. Uh, what is the blues to you?
I first of all, I really don't feel like I have an authority answering that. I have so much more to learn about that, and
Yeah.
you know, I guess if I was going to explain what that is,
Yeah.
I would say cathartic communication. But
Yeah.
I really don't have. I don't
Yeah.
feel. I just feel like I'm just a student and don't really have an
Yeah.
authority to answer
No, I
that.
hear you, man. Yeah.
That's a great question.
I mean, yeah, for like, just for me, I feel like it is like a like spiritual connection I have with people, the music itself, being able to play with you, being able to play with anybody from around the world, you can yell out, this one's going to be in the key of C, and most of them will get it and they'll follow along, and so like, it's like that communication, like I think there is that, All right, George, thank you, brother, for being here.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be a
Hey,
part
man,
of this.
I appreciate you, man.
Thanks for keeping the art alive.
Oh yeah, man. Well, we'll catch up soon, brother.
Before T.C. Perkins opened the lounge in 1979, the building stood as the Lincoln Drive-In for the 17 years prior. Another haven for blues artists and fans to come and respect the history of the music. Owner, Thomas C. Perkins, mentioned at the Austin Times that he had tried to bring jazz and more recently hip-hop and rap to the lounge, but ultimately decided to keep it all blues. To quote Perkins, "People who come here now come to enjoy the music and to have a good time." TC's Lounge was so much more than a bar. It truly was a part of the community in which it operated. Every day of the week, the lounge offered free food that was provided by TC's nieces. TC's Lounge may have showed its age when you looked at it, but that's the spirit of the place. It was no more and no less. A place that anyone in East Austin was welcome to come and enjoy cheap drinks, free food, community, and of course, amazing blues. TC's Lounge operated for 33 years in East Austin before closing in 2011. The building is now home to the Sahara Lounge, which pays a good amount of respect to the history that came before it. Sahara Lounge, like many other venues in Austin right now, are at financial risk after the shutdown. Please consider supporting these places so that Austin can stay the live music capital. Thank you.
y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching the show tonight. We had a good conversation with George. He was just a good dude. Really liked having talk with him. Got a chance to play some of his music as well. So thank you, George, for having that talk with us and sharing your music with us, man. We're going to have a good old time. Next week, we have Bill Jones and Kathy from Kathy and the Kilowatts. Really excited to get to talk to them. They're a couple of legends themselves here in the Austin area. So really excited to see them next week. So I appreciate y'all watching this show. Go to OscarOrnelas.com, check out my Patreon, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and y'all have a beautiful week. Thank you so much.